She doesn't speak loudly. She simply lives, in every cold morning, in every heart that can still feel. Russia. Silence in which pain is hidden, dramatic pause, faint sound of wind rising. And if you hear her silence, you will never be the same. Part 1. The silence in which the country sleeps. She stood by the window. The evening lay on the earth with a cold breath, and the snow fell as if someone was erasing the traces of someone's guilt. Her name was Russia. Not like geography, not like a flag, like a woman whose soul has long since stopped screaming because screaming no longer helps. Thousands of years lived in her heart, like children she did not have time to hug. Each century brought her new sons, and she buried each one in silence. No mother can get used to the sound of earth falling on a coffin, and she got used to it. I got used to it, because otherwise I would go crazy. Russia is a woman who has learned to live with a wound without calling it by name. She bears the pain, like a cross, not because she wants to, but because without him she will cease to be herself. Once she was young, daring, dreaming of freedom, about songs in which there is no blood, about eyes where there is no fear. But the world loved her strangely, sometimes kissing her on the forehead, sometimes throwing her on her knees. Every time she got up, the ground beneath her was cracking, but she still rose. Silence became her language, her prayer, her curse. In this silence she hides what the light cannot bear: shot dreams, burned houses, lost names, and those letters that never reached their addressee. Everything is in this silence, somewhere under the snow, under the stones, under time. Sometimes she thinks she hears these voices calling her: boys from the war, women from the villages, children who didn't live to see the summer. They whisper to her from the depths of centuries. Remember us, even if everyone forgets. She remembers, but memory is not relief. It is a flame that warms and burns at the same time. Every time she closes her eyes, she sees all of herself. He sees empires crumble, cities burn, how love becomes a weapon and faith becomes an excuse for pain. And still she's not angry, because he knows. Anger is also a weakness. She just looks forward, with eyes filled with so much grief that even those who love her look away. Part 2. Woman and Country. If someone met her on the street, he wouldn't have understood who she was. Just a woman, in a coat with a tired posture, with hands smelling of earth and bread. But there is something in her gaze that makes me feel uneasy, something that makes you remember your conscience. She is both an icon and an exile. The Virgin Mary, who lost her child. The saint who was tired of praying. Her house has old walls, saturated with time. On the shelves are books without covers, letters without dates, photographs where faces are erased by the rain. She keeps everything, because he knows what is forgotten dies, and she loves too much to let anyone disappear. Russia is not geography. It is memory clothed in flesh. This is a woman who walks barefoot on the ice and still smiles. Not because it doesn't hurt, and because if it stops, the world will fall with her. She saw her children go off to war, believing that they are protecting her. But every time they came back, she saw in their eyes not victory and emptiness. Because no one returns from war the same, and she hugged them, silently. How do they hug those who are alive? But inside he's been dead for a long time. Sometimes she dreams that she is young again, laughs, sings, runs on the grass, and then he wakes up, and again sees the walls, where the cracks look like wrinkles. Her soul is old, but there is a strange beauty in this old age, the beauty of a survivor. Part 3. The truth beneath the snow. There is repentance in her every movement. She does not look for the guilty. She simply carries them all within her. like a mother who doesn't divide her children into those who are right and those who are guilty. Her truth is not in words. She lives in the way she looks at the sky, in the way he puts bread on the table, in the way he remains silent when others shout, because there is no power in screaming. Strength lies in silence, in the ability not to respond to evil with evil and just go, even if the ground beneath your feet breathes with pain. Russia is a woman who survived everything, but I never learned to hate. She can cry, but not to curse. Pray, but don't ask. Loves, but do not demand reciprocity. There is infinity in her eyes, just as cold and beautiful, like the steppe in winter, and when you look into this infinity, you start to hear, not with your ears, but with your heart, that very silence in which the pain is hidden. And in this pain there is life, not destroyed. Never gave up, and simply tired, but alive. Part 4. Time that does not heal. She walks through the snow, leaving footprints behind her, which the wind sweeps away almost immediately. And so time sweeps away memory. But beneath the thickness of the years, the breath of those who came before us still lives. Russia feels their footsteps underground. Every bone, every unspoken fear, like a root that nourishes her soul. She carries them without complaining, like a mother carrying a tired child, knowing that if he lets go, the world will end. Sometimes she sits on the threshold, looks into the distance, to where the sunset looks like a wound. Her eyes know what no one else knows, that pain does not die with time. She just changes shape. From a scream becomes a whisper, from tears to snow, out of despair, through prayer. Russia knows how to remain silent like this, that the air rings from this silence. And in this sound there is everything, and guilt, and love, and longing, and the endless sorry which does not find its addressee. She is not asking for forgiveness from anyone in particular, and life itself. For everything that I didn't have time to understand, I couldn't hold it back, failed to protect. But forgiveness does not come from outside. It is born when you stop looking for the guilty and you just start to see how much pain and how much power in that she did not destroy. Part 5. A body. Made of earth, if only I could touch her. You would smell earth and iron. Her skin is fields, her breath is the wind. She is all woven from nature, and that is why it is eternal. Russia is a body in which the seasons live. Spring in it is short and trembling. Summer is generous and stubborn. Autumn is sad. Winter is endless. But in every winter she hides the promise of spring. This is her secret, the ability to die and be reborn again without asking for applause, without demanding gratitude. She had seen too much to believe in quick answers. So, when the world asks her, "Why are you silent?" she smiles, because he knows sometimes silence speaks more than 1,000 words. Her pain became a compass. She guides those who seek meaning, through the darkness, through lies, through fatigue, and somewhere in this darkness the light comes on. Dim, but real. This is the light of those who know how to feel, those who are not afraid to cry, those who remember. Russia is memory, which is still breathing, and while she breathes, there is a chance in the world. Part 6. Birth from silence, dawn is breaking. The first ray of light falls on the snow, and suddenly it starts to shine, as if every snowflake. This is a tear that finally found meaning. Russia opens its eyes. Her gaze is no longer tired, but calm. She doesn't expect forgiveness. She just accepts herself. With all the mistakes, with all the wounds, with everything that cannot be fixed. This is her freedom. She understands. The silence in which the pain hides, this is not a punishment. This is the womb in which new life is born. pain is not the enemy. She teaches you to listen, learn to see those who are nearby, love not for, but in spite of. Russia is slowly getting up. The snow melts under her feet. Somewhere in the distance, a bird sings, the first after a long winter. She listens to this sound, and her heart responds with a quiet beating. It contains everything that was and everything that will be. She smiles. Let the world not understand. Let someone throw a stone at her again. She knows every stone can be turned into grain if you plant it in the soil of love. This is how a new time is born, not from a slogan, not from a war, and with one simple gesture, a woman raises her eyes to the sky and is no longer afraid of silence. Because now, silence is not a place of pain. This is a place of power. The finale, Russia, is a woman who survived the fire, passed through eternal winter, and learned to transform pain into light. She doesn't speak loudly. She just lives. And everyone who hears it at least once, this silence can no longer be the same. Because in this silence, the whole truth about us. That pain is not the end and the beginning of a new breath. That silence is not weakness and wisdom. And that sometimes the greatest power in the world is, this is a skill bear one's cross and still loves.